One of the things that we talked about last year as we anticipated the program, we talked about whose classroom is it. What's your perspective on that?
Well, I think that in the beginning of the year, we felt that it was our classroom. And so we were a team that we were going to make all the decisions. And we very quickly learned when the kids came every day that it was actually their classroom. And so we have constantly shifted throughout the year to reflect their needs, but also their wishes. And
their requests. Yeah,
and
they
their
would come up with
requests.
things for us. And it's like, oh, I never thought of that. That's a great idea.
So by the time we got to January, we'd spent, a good solid 4 months getting to know them. They got to know us. They also felt they had the freedom to be able to say, we would like to see the tables moved in this way. We need a bigger area to build. Can we bring materials to the big carpet? So they took more ownership in the classroom, and we allowed that to happen.
And I think that was very open. We were very open with them. If you feel the need to bring something, if there's not enough room, just let us know, and we'll let you know from there.
Same thing, I think, with materials. If they need something and they're creating something, or they're in the middle of discovery and they're on inquiry and they need something, they know that they just need to come and ask one of us, and we'll find what they need.
Yeah.
So
We've had shopping lists made for us by children for activities they wanted to do. Well, we need this, and they actually wrote us out a shopping list of what they wanted in the classroom.
this is our worm compost, newly designed this morning. We've been outside digging, finding out what is awakening in the soil over the last 2 weeks. We've seen big changes. We've been through walks through the forest, and so
we went from little tiny aquariums with them, playing with them, and handfuls of worms, and we've put the ruler in the scale here. So they've been measuring them. I'll add some math in there. They've been weighing them and measuring them. And then we were just we thought, well, maybe they need a bigger home. Let's let them make some homes, and then we can observe them throughout the next couple of weeks and see what goes on in here. So this morning we counted all our worms. They made a tally of all the worms.
this has definitely evolved, because in the beginning of the year we kind of had things up against walls, and we didn't even have any place to store all the extra things. But we found that there was a real interest here, an opportunity for us to get at some of that real critical thinking, for kids to tell us why they had done the things they had, and why they included the tools that they did. So we have a sand area. It's not always sand in here. We've had all kinds of things. We brought snow in the winter. We've brought ice in. We've had sawdust in there. We have rocks.
And actually, this is probably the messiest area, so we try and keep it clean for our cleaners.
What we've found is that when we change the materials, it completely changes the play. And so we're always thinking about, what are they interested in? How can we change their play? And then let's see what happens. And, sort of a real inquiry on our part is kind of to put it out and then say, okay, we wonder what they'll do with it. So. Right now we have all kinds of things that they've collected during our woods walks, as well as some rubber worms.
Yeah, and they brought these over
animals
themselves from the shelf toys over there. They brought these over, and they've been making caves out of them, and homes for the worms and the bats.
Homes for the worms and that sort of thing. We got brave and let them put water in, and
Wow.
it can get messy back here sometimes.
This is the messy zone, but it's okay.
This team engaged the children in co-constructing the learning environment. By removing materials from the learning environment, the children's learning changed.
You hit on something really important, and that was that the removal of some items is sometimes the catalyst or the springboard for a different kind of learning. Can you think about an example that you've done this year where you've removed something and that has allowed other things to happen because of it?
Well, just recently, we had a conversation with the students about the computer, and it was just something that they weren't using, maybe just not using a lot of, or they weren't just engaged in it. So we had a conversation with the students, and they decided that we were going to remove that. And then we had a conversation conversation about, okay, if we do remove it, what's going to happen? So then we brought it back to the kids, and we said, okay, so if we remove it, what do we want to put in there? And so they gave us a list of different ideas, and we talked about space. The computer used to be just over here, and so that was something that we didn't have a lot of space. So then we had removed the tent earlier on this year, and so a few of the kids said, well, we'd love the tent back. And I said, well, why would you like the tent back? And they said, you know, it's a place where we can be quiet, where we can read with our friends. It's only for 2 people. It's one of those quiet spaces that we don't have in the class. So they actually observed that, and we thought that was an amazing discovery for them and a great observation. So we decided to put the tent back in, and the students have been using it a lot. That's some place that they can have that relaxing time, spend time with their friends, that kind of thing. So.
Full-day kindergarten teams throughout the province have engaged in professional learning conversations. The next team we meet reflects back on their first year in full-day kindergarten and their rethinking about the learning environment.
We're constantly listening to the kids, like, oh, did you hear what he said, or did you hear what she said? And that's been the guide to lead us now.
And I know you've rethought that as you continue to rethink, even reshaping the room. You were talking on the way here. What were you talking about? Reconfiguring the room.
Yeah, we found something wasn't working for us, and even though there's only a few weeks left in the year, we said, you know what, for our own sanity, maybe we should change this, and it calmed the classroom right down. And they love when you change things around, so it was good for them, and it was good for us too.
Yeah, even the noise level in the classroom went down last week when it just made it more open. And I don't know, it was because it was happier for us, it was happier for them.
But I like how you described the process, because you both talked about that collaboratively. What can we do to that third teacher we call the classroom? And you thought intentionally, perhaps if we do these things, and then you looked for effect. And you just said there was an impact on student engagement.
Yeah, and we found that it worked, and so it'll stay that way probably for the rest of the year. I would think.